Hey everyone, what's up? This is Alchemist here, and today I'm bringing you a video series on Priest. Now, I don't usually play Priest, but I was just kind of straight up in the mood for playing some Priest, and I hit Legend with a pretty aggressive Hunter deck, so I figured I'd change up the pace a bit and try and learn some Priest myself and record a video series slash guide while doing so. This is more so of a hey, let's learn Priest along with me, and I'll show you some cool matchups that I run into, as opposed to me showcasing my skill with Priest, because I still have a lot to learn. It's a pretty complicated class, lots of nifty little combos and whatnot to show, but this is the deck list that I'll be using. I use Kalento's most current deck list as a baseline. I think I swapped out Dr. Boom for a Holy Nova. I just don't really like playing Dr. Boom as the only big game hunter target, and I kind of like having access to a Holy Nova. But even though I use Kalento's list for this for the most part, they're all pretty standard Priest cards. There's nothing that's really a new concept or idea. So I'm just going to quickly go over each of the cards, talk about the general idea of the deck, and I'll get into some videos afterwards you guys can all watch. So first we have 2 Circle of Healing up here, and it says restore 4 health to all minions, which is normally you wouldn't think it's that great of not that big of a deal, but there's quite a few things that it does. First is it combines well with Northshire Cleric. Whenever a minion is healed, you can draw a card. So if you have cards like Injured Blade Master that comes into play already damaged, or if you attack into a bunch of their minions, you can circle healing to heal everything and draw a card for. Sometimes you get like 5 or 6 cards, and let's not even talk about going full Northshire Cleric when you have 2 of them out. You can also use it as a cheap spell to lead off with Wild Pyromancer. Everything will go to full health, and then it will take 1 damage. So you'd want to use it at the beginning of your Pyromancer play if that is something you were to do. To go along with the Injured Blade Master, it comes into play with 4 damage dealt to himself, so it's kind of a natural fit there. Turn 3, you play this in circle, you have a 4/7, which for some decks that's really hard to deal with, and for others that might not be what you're looking to do with it. Probably the biggest impact that Circle of Healing can have in terms of swinging the game is with Organized Soul Priest, which is a 4-mana 3/5 that says your cards and hero power and powers that restore health now deal damage instead. So this means instead of healing everything for 4, you're going to deal 4 damage to everything. So if you're playing against a really aggressive deck, you slam down Organized Soul Priest, Circle of Healing, clear the board, reset, and move on from there. Light of the Naru, nice little spell to combo nicely with Wild Pyromancer. You can also heal up your Injured Blade Master, just like with Circle. Sometimes the Light Wardens are pretty cool. If they ever stick around and you get a Pyromancer and a Circle of Healing, you can sometimes just deal absurd amount of damage with the Light Warden. Like I've had Light Wardens become 20 plus attack before and just like one-shot your opponent. You can also, if you have Organized Soul Priest on board, it's basically a Lightning Bolt that also will summon a Light Warden, so that's pretty cool. Power Word Shield, it's a nice card to cycle through, get your Northshire Cleric and out of Fiery War Axe range, get your Sludge Belchers out of like Deathbite range, make them harder to get through. It's also combos very nicely with Wild Pyromancer. Kind of just a nice little a cycle card for the deck. Northshire Cleric, kind of already talked about this, 1 mana 1/3, pretty good against some of the aggressive decks with a lot of 1 health minions like Face Hunter, and also your primary way of drawing cards. Shrinkmeister, this guy's a little bit different. Give a minion -2 attack. Sometimes you can just play it out there as a 3/2 and get some good trade value in, but primarily what you're looking to do is use it in combination with a Shadow Madness or a Cabal Shadow Priest, which we'll get to in a little bit. Wild Pyromancer, another form of board clear and AoE. You can do a lot of cool things with it, such as build up the Light Wardens, clear the board, set up for Northshire Cleric, Circle of Healing. There's just a lot of things you can do. Shadow Word Death, pretty straightforward. Kill a minion with 5 attack or more. Really not much more to say. I know that some people play 1 Death, 1 Vol'jin. You could try that yourself. On this account, I actually don't have a Vol'jin, so I haven't been able to try it myself, but it might be something worth considering. 2 Thoughtseal. I'm going to be honest, I actually don't really care for this card. If you play it early on turn 3, it's just you lose too much tempo. You can't really control what you get. I think I actually have a video where I get 2 Blade Flurries from a rogue, which is kind of funny. I mean, it works well with Pyromancer, but to be honest, I think I'd rather just have them be maybe a Shadow Word Pain and a Light Bomb or something. But for now, they're in the deck. For the video series, they're in the deck. They're certainly fun, I'll tell you that. You can always get some interesting interactions, scenarios come up that you wouldn't normally do it. So if you're just looking for fun, I would definitely try out the Thoughtseal, but there might be some better replacements. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes they're fantastic, but other times you're just like, why is this in my deck? Injured Blade Master, already talked about this. Just we're already playing Circle, so this goes nicely with it. Shadow Madness, gain control of an enemy minion with 3 or less attack. So this combos really nicely with Shrinkmeister. You can usually steal something bigger and kill it off into something else that's bigger. You can like steal Acolyte of Pain, you know, draw some cards with Pyromancer. There's a whole lot of things you can do with this card, and the list goes on and on and on. But in general, you're stealing your opponent's stuff, and you're usually killing it off into one of their other things in one way or another. Auchenai Soul Priest combos nicely with the Circle. You can use your hero power to ping off little guys. Same thing with Light of the Naru. 4 mana 3/5 is pretty good stats to begin with. So yeah, very key component. It gives the deck an angle that you know, if you don't play Auchenai Soul Priest, then you lose an entire angle of attack that Priest has an option for. Holy Nova, just a nice little AoE card that goes well with Pyromancer if you get it on turn 7. You can also use it to heal up all your guides if you have a Northshire Cleric in play to draw some cards. It's a little bit of additional health gain to complement the Light of the Naru and your hero power. Overall, just a solid AoE card. I kind of like it. But I could see playing maybe Light Bomb instead. Or you don't have to play it, because since you already have Auchenai Circle, Wild Pyromancers, and Shadow Madnesses, you don't really need that extra board clear. I just feel more comfortable with it. Harrison Jones, this is a metagame call for the most part. Just there's a lot of warriors. You can get rid of rogues' weapons. I don't think I have it on a recording, but I did Shadow Word Death a Tyrion before, and then just slam down Harrison and steal his weapon. That was pretty cool. But yeah, it's just a metagame call. If you think you're running into weapons and, you know, all over the place, and play the Harrison, it really helps. If not, then play a Lotheb, whatnot, if you don't have Harrison, or a Vol'jin, whatever you want to put in for that. Sludge Belcher, it's the only taunt in the deck. It's very important to make sure we don't just get randomly killed by things like Force of Nature, Savage Roar, or some crazy burst combos. They work really nicely with Power Word Shield. You can always heal them up, so they're really annoying for the opponent to get through. They protect a lot of your smaller minions like the Northshire Cleric, or if you get a Light Warden out. Really like this card. Probably one of my favorite cards in the deck. Cabal Shadow Priest, one of the best cards in the deck. Take control of an enemy minion that has 2 or less attack, and if you use it on turn 8 with combination with a Shrinkmeister, you can take things like Twilight Drake, or just anything that's a little bigger. And you can even do the ultimate combo of turn 10 double Shrinkmeister, Cabal Shadow Priest, something like Tyrion, or something crazy. So that's always pretty cool, but it doesn't come up that often. The card's usually just good enough by itself. The fact you have Shrinkmeister makes it even better. Sylvanas, great card for Priest. Just to jam it out there and take control of something. You can also do a turn 9 Sylvanas, Shadow Word Death your Sylvanas. It's not very efficient mana-wise, but if they just have, you know, one Ysera out or something like that, and you just want to take it, then do it. Why not? And speaking of Ysera, it's the final card in the deck. It's the finisher. If we go to the late game, it's what will seal the deal. Our deck is designed to survive the early and mid game, but it's not really designed to finish the game in that regard. Like, you don't have any power hitters. Everything's very kind of like removal heavy, control heavy, but it's lacking that, you know, that Gromish Hellscream, that Force of Nature Savage Roar. And Priests don't really have access to a finisher potential of that caliber unless you want to play something like Velen, Prophet Velen, and Mind Blast. But then you're taking up 3 slots, and Mind Blast is a pretty dead card by itself. So just Ysera, it's the finisher, hard to deal with, draws you cards. It'll help seal the deal for you. And yeah, so that's the deck. I'm going to show, I think I have 6 or 7 video matchups to show. And I apologize, I don't have the game sounds on for this video series. So I'll try to look into that for the future. But I hope you enjoy the videos, and thanks for watching, everyone.